What's going on, YouTube world? My name is Jamal McKinney. I appreciate y'all for tuning in today. Welcome to the Juice Alert. You can call me Juice or G-Man, but my real name is Jamal. Okay, be sure to like this video right now. Subscribe to my channel if you are new. I do post a ton of great sports videos pretty much almost every single day, giving y'all great content. Today, obviously the jury's out. Chris Paul, James Harden, Houston Rockets. As you well know, if you don't, well, you've been hiding under the rock. Okay, recently they just lost to the Golden State Warriors in Game 6 at home. They are officially eliminated from the playoffs, and they lost in that game without the services of the Golden State Warriors having Kevin Durant. But now, a lot of people are going to ask, can James Harden and Chris Paul ever win a championship? You know, is there still hope? And yes, there's still hope. They can still win a championship, but next year is the only year, I think, is their only opportunity, okay? This was probably the best opportunity they had this year to win a championship, you know, considering the fact that Kevin Durant went down. I thought they were the second best team in the West, maybe one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league. Okay, they had a prime opportunity this year, but I'm going to get to that a little bit later in the video. Next year is the only year I think they can win a championship. But I just wanted to touch base on why I think it's, you know, hard for me to still believe that, but I still have faith in them. But you know, we're gonna talk about some things, okay? In my opinion, that was a choke job. I'm sorry. There's no excuse, okay? The Houston Rockets were able to beat the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant dropping 46 points, with him dropping 34 points in game number 4, okay? The Warriors don't have Boogie Cousins, they don't have Damian Jones, they don't have Kevin Durant, okay? They have been, this is not the same 73-win Warriors team, okay, from a couple years ago without Kevin Durant. It's not, okay? They're not as deep. Steph Curry was so inconsistent. He was very wildly inconsistent throughout the whole entire playoffs this year. And Klay Thompson has been lost in the offense a little bit. Draymond Green is no longer the same defender, and he's not a great offensive player either, okay? He's just not the same player anymore, okay? The Golden State Warriors were as vulnerable as they've ever been. There was no excuse for the Houston Rockets to not take and win this series. If James Harden is the MVP, he needed to win this series. If Chris Paul has gotten over the choking in the past, he needed to win this series. Mike D'Antoni needed to win this series. And they just fell short once again. And the narrative last year was, oh, Chris Paul was hurt. That's the reason that we lost, okay? That was the reason we lost. Okay, listen. Everybody was healthy on the team this year, okay? Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins were not playing in this series, okay? And you lost still. You still lost. So, it's just bad for Houston right now. Now, me personally, I'm a little happy. Because I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. I'm mainly a Kevin Durant fan, but I'm a Warriors fan. So, I'm happy the Rockets choked. But, listen, it's just been, you know, James Harden and Chris Paul, what are they? A lot of them, people label them as chokers in the playoffs, okay? Let's start with James Harden. James Harden has been a much lesser version of himself, especially in key moments like the fourth quarter, you know, in those late clutch situations, than he has been in the regular season. James Harden has probably been one of the top 3 players the last 3 or 4 years in the regular season, and he's my MVP this year. I would vote James Harden for MVP this year. He's been that spectacular, okay? And if Giannis gets it, I understand. But James Harden won MVP last year, been one of the top 3 or 4 players in the league in the regular season. In the playoffs, you cannot seem to find him when it matters most, okay? This dates back to 2012, okay? 2012 versus the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. Grant Williams coming off the bench when he was a 6th man, okay? But he did not show up then, okay? This is the same guy who lost to a Kawhi Leonard less. Kawhi Leonard did not play, okay? He lost to the San Antonio Spurs in Game 6 at home in a closeout game without Kawhi Leonard and scored, what, 10 points? I mean, that was a choke job, okay? He was losing to the Golden State Warriors before they got Kevin Durant. He was not there in those clutch situations. Every statistical category you can look at, besides maybe free throws, James Harden is down, okay? His shooting percentage is down in the playoffs. Almost every single series he's played in. His three-point percentage is down in almost every single series in the playoffs he has played in compared to the regular season. I mean, there's some series where he did not even shoot 30% from 3. That's not James Harden. That's not who he is. James Harden is probably, he may be the Peyton Manning of the NBA right now, okay? He's this all-time great player in the regular season. But when it matters most, when you need him to close games out, when you need him to do that, he's not there, okay? He just has not been there. He's been a lesser version of himself in these clutch moments. And in game number 1, game number 2, game number 5, and in game number 6, in those key spots, he was not there once again, especially in game number 5, especially when Kevin Durant went down. Okay, same with Chris Paul. Chris Paul been choking too ever since he's been in the league. Okay, Chris Paul ever since but before he joined James Harden, the guy didn't even get past the second round. And don't tell me the Clippers did not have talent, because they had a prime Blake Griffin, they had Doc Rivers as their head coach. The Clippers had a stacked team for many years. Okay, and Chris Paul failed to get them past the second round of the playoffs. Okay, and listen, Chris Paul also blew a 3-1 lead to James Harden when James Harden was on the bench. So James Harden was choking and didn't even know it, okay, back then. Okay, but Chris Paul has blown a 3-1 lead in the past. He's not been there in those clutch moments either. So basically what you look at with Chris Paul and James Harden, Chris Paul, one of the top point guards of all time, okay? James Harden, one of the 4 or 5 best shooting guards of all time. He's a top 50 player all time, top 40 player all time. But he's won an MVP. But listen, Karl Malone's won an MVP. Charles Barkley's won an MVP. Russell Westbrook has won an MVP. Allen Iverson has won an MVP. Okay? You know, Derrick Rose won an MVP, like I said. Listen, are any of those players discussed as one of the all-time great players? I mean, Karl Malone, what is he, like second to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in all-time points per game scored? I mean, all-time points, not points per game, but all-time points scored. Karl Malone, second on that list. You know how great that is? No one talks about Karl Malone. Because you want to know why? Because he consistently choked in the playoffs, okay? That's what James Harden is. An all-time great player in the regular season who can win MVPs, you know, scoring titles, but in the playoffs, when he needs to be there to give you buckets, when he needs to stop the bleeding, he's just not there. Same with Chris Paul. The guy didn't get past the second round for many years when he was a top 3 point guard in the league, okay? So, listen. James Harden in Houston, James Harden and Chris Paul's legacy right now is tainted. They are now considered chokers, in my opinion, in the playoffs. Now, James Harden's still a top 5 player in this league, definitely. He's just that gifted, okay? He's that great. That's the deal. There was no excuses here. This was the most prime opportunity for the Houston Rockets to make the NBA Finals, and they failed to do that without Kevin Durant not being there. This was the prime opportunity for them. They choked it away, okay? Now, will Chris Paul and James Harden ever win a championship? I'm going to tell you right now. Next year is the final year for them to do it, in my opinion. It's the final year. Chris Paul's getting old. You're paying him a lot of money, okay? You know, Mike D'Antoni's been choking too. Mike D'Antoni teams, you know, you look back at those Phoenix teams. He's had great teams besides this Houston Rockets team that have just choked and not lived up to the expectations in the playoffs, okay? But listen, next year, I think the Rockets will be among one of the top favorites to win the NBA title next year. Honestly, I might bet money they might win the championship next year, okay? But that's the final year. They're probably going to win the championship, okay? Look at the West. Portland, they're on the up-and-coming rise. Damian Lillard looks like he can get even better. Okay, the Golden State Warriors, even without Kevin Durant, they will still be there. The Denver Nuggets might become a dynasty. I mean, they have so many great young pieces, okay? I mean, you can still got LeBron James in the West, okay? I can go through a number of teams. The San Antonio Spurs are always going to be there, okay? The West is stacked, okay? The West is a dogfight. Okay, see, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, they're still there, okay? So the West is not going to get any easier, in my opinion. No way the West gets easier. It's only going to get tougher. Shoot, I didn't even get to Donovan Mitchell in the Utah Jazz. I mean, come on now. I mean, the West is stacked, okay? And you got the Milwaukee Bucks. You got the Toronto Raptors. And heck, even if Kawhi Leonard, if he goes to the Clippers, if Kyrie Irving goes to the Lakers, those are contenders too. Next year is the final year for Houston to probably win a championship. Chris Paul, James Harden, next year is it, man. If you don't win a championship next year, you will never win a championship in your career. It's an old roster. PJ Tucker, old. Chris Paul, he's old, okay? Mike D'Antoni, his system's outdated. Look, the Houston Rockets, there was a prime opportunity this year, and they blew it. But next year, this might be the only year. Now, I believe in James Harden still. As much as I hate to say it, I still believe in James Harden. Because guess what? LeBron James did not win an NBA championship to his 10th year in the league. Kevin Durant did not win an NBA championship to his 10th year in the league. Michael Jordan, it took him a while to get over the Pistons and the Celtics, okay? There have been instances where players have taken a while to win NBA championships. Now, they were not choking at the rate James Harden was, but there's still hope for James Harden. James Harden is actually still, he's no longer choking at the rate he used to. He used to just not take shots, okay, in the fourth quarter. He's now taking those shots. He's just missing, okay? He's just missing. He's not consistently hitting those shots in the clutch, but at least he's taking them, okay? Chris Paul, he had one of his best playoff games in a long time in Game 6. And listen, Houston still won 50 games this year, okay? 50-plus games this year with Clint Capella, with Eric Gordon, and with Chris Paul missing 15 to 20 games. Each of those players missed at least 15 games this past year. Something like that, okay? Those were three key players to that team, okay? They still were able to win 50 games. The blueprint for Houston next year, if they can potentially get a Jimmy Butler, I don't think they will because their cap room's terrible. But if they can get a player like that, definitely do it, okay? Get a solid bench player, you know, improve your depth because you're going to need a little more scoring to help James Harden and CP3, okay? But the blueprint for the Rockets next year, they need to get the best record in the NBA next year, okay? They need to have home court throughout the whole playoffs. They need to stay healthy, okay? And ultimately, James Harden and CP3 are just going to need to step up. Now, next year, I think the Rockets will be among one of the favorites. I really do. And honestly, if I had to bet money, you know, the Golden State Warriors, they look vulnerable. Kevin Durant might leave. Okay, the Houston Rockets might be the best team in the West coming in next year if that's the case, okay? They have an opportunity to win a championship next year. But after that, if they don't win a championship next year, James Harden and Chris Paul, I'm sorry, unless you join a team, you know, where it's stacked, you know, at the end of your career, where you're going to get hardly no credit for that team winning, you will not win a championship. You will not win a championship if you cannot win next year. Next year is it, man. It's it next year. Next year is your final and last year to win NBA championship. And James Harden, if you don't want to be a Karl Malone, if you don't want to be a Charles Barkley, if you don't want to be a Russell Westbrook, if you don't want to be an Allen Iverson, by the way, I think Allen Iverson is still a great player. James Harden is still going to be considered an all-time great player. First ballot Hall of Famer. Chris Paul, first ballot Hall of Famer. If you guys want to be considered one of the all-time greats, and James Harden deserves that, man. He's putting so much work. He went from a 6th man to an MVP candidate. James Harden, I believe in him. And ultimately, I think he will probably win a championship next year, okay? I really do. I think James Harden can win a championship next year. But he has to go out and do it. He has to hit those clutch shots. He has to elevate that team. He has to get them to one of the best records in the NBA next year. And he just has to come through in the clutch, and CP3 and him and Mike D'Antoni have to ultimately just stop choking. That's pretty much a wrap for this video, though. Be sure to like this video right now. Subscribe to my channel if you are new. Like I said, I do post a ton of great sports videos pretty much almost every single day. Comment, what do you think? Will James Harden win a championship? Will he not? Will he ever win a championship? Will Mike D'Antoni ever get over the hump? Will Chris Paul ever get over the hump? Are they chokers in the playoffs? I want to know you guys' thoughts. Be sure to give them to me in the comment section. It's been your boy, Jamal McKinney. Appreciate y'all for tuning in today, and I'm Ghost. Have a blessed day.